All right, there've been some changes to the game here lately, so I decided to do an update to all of my loadouts, given the new perks, given the new weapons, and so I thought, yeah, what the hell? Go through what they were again. Folks ask me all the time how I kit things out, so I can't stream right now because of an issue with my ISP, and I figured, hey, what the hell? This will give me something to do. That in mind, taking a look, I have my loadout set up with a variance depending on whether or not I'm playing in a team setting or playing in solos. And so I'll start, from the top, work my way down. Uh, I snipe constantly. And in solos, I have recently decided to mix that up with in relation to my perks. Swiss, pretty much the same way I've always run it. Crew suppressor, combat recon, 5 milliwatt laser, bruiser grip, airborne elastic wrap. Some folks say, well, you could go to the Serpent Wrap, get a little bit better ADS. You cannot tell the difference, and you don't get the flinch resistance. So go with the Airborne Elastic Wrap. It's the best way to go, best way to have a sniper, and of any sniper right now. Secondly, I still carry the Psychov, even though they nerfed it. I still carry the Psychov for my secondary. I can't stand the movement speed with the 80 round mags. So I run mine monolithic auto barrel tack laser, 20 round mags, and sleight of hand. The reload speed on this thing with sleight of hand is nasty fast. I mean, it's totally worth it, and you get that much better movement speed than you get just with those 80 round drums. Just they're not for me. Lots of people try to run them. I just think that it feels like you're running with a PKM with those things to me, and I just don't get down on that. When it comes to perks, when I'm playing solos, I used to run EOD, Ghost, and Amped. That was the go-to, especially because I snipe all the time. But recently, with the change, with the introduction of high alert, canceling dead silence, and with the fact that you know now people are sort of like mixing it up. They're using things that are different. Tacticals are getting used differently. I have dropped Ghost, and I have also dropped Amped. I've also dropped EOT, so uh, I'm now running Cold Blooded because lots of people are now more often running High Alert, and I don't want to trigger it. I snipe a lot, so triggering High Alert's kind of a pain for me. I run Cold Blooded. I run High Alert, like I said. Uh, Solos, the most aggravating thing is when you get totally, you're on a burner and you just get absolutely boned by somebody running Dead Silence. It honestly drives me crazy, and a lot of people in solos are still running Ghost, but I can barely count the number of times someone has popped a UAV and then exploited the fact that they knew where I was to kill me. Uh, but I feel like I remember every single time that someone ever got me with dead silence when I was on a hot streak. So, you know, high alert for me. Matter of fact, I don't run Ghost in any single loadout with the exception of one, and I'll show you that here in a moment. And then lastly, on solos, I switched over to Battle Harden. Really in solos, you've got no help. Someone throws a stun, throws a flash, and there's a lot of people in solos that want to run cheese loadouts. Come in with the Cali sticks and the riot shield, and same thing as if someone's got dead silence. You're on a hot streak, you're going off, and then all of a sudden someone hits you with that BS. So I've thrown on Battle Harden. I think that it's worth it, even though I've got that slow weapon switch compared to having amped. I snipe a lot, and if I'm sniping, then I'm swapping over to my to do a cleanup if I down somebody, or if I'm on the move. You know, if you time it right, you really don't need amped. Amp just was very convenient, and this is much more practical and really comes in handy, especially in solos. Uh, I'm running claymores pretty much all the time now, and the reason for that, I was running Simtex all the time because if you're gonna run a throwable, I don't see any reason why you would run anything other than Simtex. You get a one hit down on the stick, and it has a really nice explosive range. You could run C4 if you want to be that guy that chucks one at a vehicle over a wall. I mean, yeah, have fun with it, but to me, it's a little bit boring. And now more so than ever, I have a heartbeat sensor on everything because people are running tempered, people are running high alert, people are running a lot less ghost, and that makes the heartbeat sensor that much stronger, and it was already pretty strong. Um, if I get to the end of a game, solos, and I kill somebody, and I'm not really getting anything on the heartbeat. I know it's really close to the end. I see they were carrying stuns. Yeah, all right. I might drop it and take theirs, but I'm not carrying it just to have it. Second loadout, the exact same thing as far as the weaponry and the lethals and tacticals are concerned, but now I'm also, I'm changing my perks for teams. In teams, I'm running cold-blooded still, but I'm running tempered instead. When you're playing in teams, you either need to give somebody some plates, or there's a lot more people. You find yourself in engagements, people are getting bought back where your plates don't last as long as they would in solos. So with tempered, you've got four full replates in your satchel, whereas with regular armor, you've got two and some change. So I'm constantly running that. And lastly, where I had Battle Hardened, I've now got Combat Scout because I'm still sniping a lot. Running Combat Scout really helps me, ping somebody automatically, help my teammates out, let them know what I see. It's a massive benefit, particularly if you have FMJ, or if you're like in a close fight. But really, for me, for sniping, it's also hugely helpful because if I get that down, they know where I've downed somebody. If someone's got a precision, they can call it in, and I don't have to. There's no delay there, because if you're going to follow up that down with a precision, you got to do it really fast. So that's my sniping setup for teams. Solos, I have completely gotten on board with the OTS-9, and no one really gives this gun much respect in the way of running it for sniper support. Bullshit. If you're an aggressive sniper like I am, because 40 meters, 30 meters and up, I'm still sniping. I am all on board with the OTS, because in some cases you need to move in quick after you get it down. Great mobility on this gun, and you got to get in, get a finish. Or if someone's pushing you've posted up somewhere, you're holding a spot waiting to see the next circle, and someone's pushing you. If you got a claymore protecting you and you're following up with this, the number of times where someone has run by, gotten popped by my claymore, they don't get broken, but they get hurt enough to where they back off. I immediately start charging them with the OTS-9, catch them while they're replating. Game's over for them. I mean, that's it. So the way I run this, I run it with a Grew Suppressor, Liberator Barrel, Spetsnaz Grip, 40-round fast mag. And I run the fast mag. Generally, we always talk about, run the standard maximum mag, because there's just an ADS penalty, too much of one. Honestly, there's not that much of an ADS penalty on this one running the 40-round fast mag. And I put a Microflex LED on it. You really don't need it, but because I may find myself using it at 20 meters to finish somebody off that I've downed, it just helps a little bit. It's got a little bit of recoil, not too much, but it really does help. So this setup really is for my version of a sniper support version of it. If you weren't going to run this as sniper support, then I would drop the Liberator Barrel, I would drop the Spetsnaz Grip, I'd throw on Tiger Team, I would drop the Microflex LED. I'd either come down and do a no stock if you just want to get that maximum sprint to fire time, or if you were gonna need to be as mobile as you possibly can be, go to the KGB skeletal. You're gonna lose a shitload of hip fire accuracy on this, but you really benefit from your mobility as well. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with this gun depending on how you want to use it. This is my way of going about it, and if you're going to run sniper, particularly in solos or duos, I would, and you're an aggro sniper, I would strongly encourage you to give this a shot. Matter of fact, I don't even like telling people about it. I like it so much. With that in mind, same thing, OTS-9. If I'm running duos, I'm still playing OTS-9, but I am once again changing my perks. I go from High Alert and Battle Hardened to Tempered and Combat Scout. Same reasons as I said before. I just think it's a great combination of things to use right now. And when you pair that with the Swiss, there's a range in there where you're at a disadvantage at 20 to 25. You gotta pick your battles. You gotta really decide if you're in the right position or not. And if you're not in the right position, do you want to draw somebody in, or do you want to get away and repost up Really got to kind of get used to thinking that way. But if I'm in trios or quads, I am full on rocking the Cold War AK still. My version of it, everybody that's anybody that plays this game watches JGod videos for loadouts. I still disagree with JGod's loadout for this particular gun, particularly when you're using it for sniper support. Now, what the KD on this is not as great as the OTS 9, and it's honestly not as great as some of the SMGs, most of the meta SMGs. But the reason that I like it for sniper support is because it is incredibly forgiving. Whether you hit the feet, the torso, the chest, the head, doesn't really make much of a difference unless you hit multiple headshots. You're still going to get that 600 millisecond kill, which is not the case with a lot of guns. Not the case with a lot of the SMG. When you're getting to the end of that first damage drop off, like if you're using it at 20 meters, which I don't do that much, but if you're using it at 20 meters, you're really going to benefit by running an assault rifle versus an SMG. So everything that I do is based on the fact that my primary is a sniper, and I'm going to get into what I use when I'm not sniping, but honestly, that's very rare. So the Cold War AK version that I run, I have the standard suppressor on it, which is the standard suppressor. No one touches that thing. It is phenomenal to add this to to an AR, and here's why. You add this, you get sprint to fire speed, you get bullet velocity, you get ADS, and you get sound suppression. I mean, that if you're gonna use an AR for sniper support, having the benefit of sprint to fire speed and the ADS, that is huge. The reason that is huge is because then you can slap on a barrel that is heavier. If you want to roll RPK, you can. I don't do it because I can control the recoil. I'm pretty good with this one. And it's really a lot. You get the same bullet velocity as if you threw on the Liberator. Actually, the Liberator might be slightly better. I'd have to check. However, if you wanted to, you could put on the Spetsnaz. You could continue to run the regular suppressor, and you're going to get an ADS that is completely fine. It'll be more than enough to use. It'll be serviceable. You're not going to get caught that many. You could get caught on occasion being the slower ADS, but it's not going to be that much. Personally, I would suggest the Liberator, but like I said, if the recoil is an issue, Spetsnaz is the way to go. After that, I throw on the Tiger Team Spotlight. The thing about using an AR for a secondary the way I do is, you really want to have some mobility, and it's difficult to get mobility when you AR, particularly one that's, one like the AK. It doesn't have as great a mobility as other ones. But since the recent changes, with the exception of the QBZ, the AK is pretty far up there with its mobility. It's actually pretty fat. So I don't mind it at all. Throw on the Tiger Team, and I think it's fantastic. You don't need a 60-round mag. I throw on the 45 Microflex LED, and this is a great secondary to go along with sniping if you're in trios or quads. Like I said, I'm going OTS 9s and solos or duos, but if I'm having an off night, then there's a decent chance I may run the AK if I'm taking a bit more passive approach. So next up, that occasion when my sniping is off, I prefer the Farah, and the reason I prefer the Farah is because of the same reason that I just said to use the AK. It is extraordinarily forgiving when it comes to limbs and stomach shots. And Farah, they increased the recoil sometime back, and it's not as laser beam as it used to be. It used to be a little bit, it used to be just, spot on. You could not bounce off of it. Now it's got some more. So I run it Grew Suppressor, Liberator, Spetsnaz Grip, 60-round mag, and I put the 4 times on it. You could go to the 3. Most people would prefer the 3. But I have the 4 times on this one. That's just personal preference. Same thing in the barrel department. Now, you do want to run the Grew Suppressor on this because you're using it for range. This isn't sniper support. If you don't mind the ADS being slower, you could go to the Spetsnaz, but here's the thing. The difference in recoil between the Liberator and the Spetsnaz, minimal. I mean, the penalty that you pay on ADS and sprinting speed, going from the Liberator to the Spetsnaz barrel, it's really not worth it. If you're hell bent on having the most control you can have, you can go to it, but it's not that much of a noticeable impact. Now, the Farah you see here, I've got the name of this, Farah Boom Boom. The reason I have this one, and I've mentioned it before in a previous video, is because this is the Plaza Security Blueprint. It's the one that you'd have gotten from the Nakatomi, that the John McClane bundle in the store, or if you unlock the blueprint in Nakatomi Plaza, you had to have the number 3 vault key and gone into the vault and unlocked it. This one has the napalm rounds, and while there's no additional effect damage wise, there is a very disturbing visual and sound effect. Every bullet that hits has a little explosion, and when you're hitting somebody, particularly in the upper chest to head, it interferes with what they can see on their screen. It's very jarring and it's very disorienting. It makes it difficult for them to fire back. So if you're going to run Farah, I suggest that blueprint if you have it. If you don't have that blueprint, yeah, you could go Krig, you could go QBZ, particularly if recoil is a problem for you. This is just my personal preference, and I've got this set up with Tempered and Combat Scout because, like I said, I'm only using this in a team scenario. If I'm in solos, I'm sniping pretty much all the time, with the exception of one time, and we're still getting there. So next, these are just my overkill loadouts. If I'm low on cash and QBs come in, one is for solos, got battle hardened on here. The other one's for teams, has Combat Scout. One's with the AK, one's with the OTS, just how I had them described before. And then we get down to my 2 fully loaded ones. Occasionally, you may want to have Ghost. You're in a situation where you're the only one alive on a trio dropping in late game, or dropping in any point in time, and you're picking up a loadout. You want to try to get a little bit, stay off the map a little bit. That'd be a good time to go with it. Personally, if I'm going to go Ghost, it's because I have already gotten 2 loadouts, and I'm near the end game in solos, and I'm like, you know what? All right, we're at the end game. Let's swap this out. Let's go Ghost. Let's try to be a little bit more stealthy here. Now, those are the only 2 scenarios that I run it. Outside of that, I'm over Ghost. I'm done with it. The only other loadout that I have that I use is what I call fully loaded armor. Now, this one is probably going to be the most unpopular gun setup that I could ever possibly advise. But one thing in particular about all the ARs in the game, while they continue to tweak the Cold War ones and they continue to tweak the Modern Warfare ones, one gun they have completely left alone is the FAL. And the FAL rips. It absolutely rips. And here's the thing. You can talk about the fact that, yeah, well, if you go fully loaded, you could go Growl. The Growl, you don't need an optic on the Growl, and you can still have good control. You don't need an optic on the Kilo or the M13 and still have good control. Look, give this a chance. Monolithic suppressor, marksman barrel, candid hybrid optic, Ranger foregrip. Now, I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. Marksman barrel, the Ranger foregrip, and the candid hybrid, these give the absolute optimum combination of recoil control that you can get on this gun. Aside from throwing in the rubberized foregrip, which is kind of a waste of time. It's semi-auto. Now, you throw those 3 on there, throw in the monolithic, which is going to put you beyond sniper level 80, bullet velocity in most cases. Throw on fully loaded. Look, I use this in situations where I need to drop back in, and I don't have plates. Maybe the loadout drop is in the middle of nowhere. You're not going to find any loot. And boom, use Tempered. I'm fully plated. Combat Scout. I've got a gun that I know will shred. And, yeah, there's a 20 bullet thing going on here, but the reload time isn't too on this gun. It's totally worth it. Seriously, I wish more people gave some love to the FAL. It needs to make a comeback in such a bad way. And you'll actually see if you check out WZRanked, the FAL has one of the stronger KD ratios associated with it. It's a damn good. So that's it. That's all of my loadouts. I don't see any reason to use anything else right now, but I'm sure that'll change it further. So I appreciate the time you spent with me here for the last 19 minutes and 30 seconds. Have a good one. Stay safe. Don't get the Rona. And I'll catch you all in the war zone.